Dave's exclusive televised coverage of the 2015 International Premium Cigar Retailers Convention is presented by Drew Estate Cigars, introducing the new Edition Limitada in the Herrera Esteli Norteño line, featuring extensively aged tobaccos from Nicaragua, coupled with a spicy Honduran binder and bold Mexican San Andreas wrapper. And the new Undercrown Shade with an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Sumatran binder, as well as Dominican Criollo 98 and Nicaraguan fillers. Now, from the 2015 International Premium Cigar Retailers Convention in New Orleans, Louisiana, here's the General, Cigar Dave.
Well, this is the fourth and final live exclusive televised broadcast from the 2015 IPCPR, and I'll tell you, I could go for another week like this, enjoying great cigars, great camaraderie, great fellowship, and the heat in New Orleans, the humidity I could probably pass on. But aside from that, it has been an incredible 3 days, great cigars, great energy in the world of cigars. Long Ash greetings and salutations, a Long Ash snappy salute, semper delectatio, always pleasure. America's Alpha Male front and center from Command Center Alpha, Broadcast Plaza 1A at the Montreal Convention Center. We've got a great hour planned for you. We're going to be joined in just, actually right now, this very second, with Jonathan Drew from Drew Estate Cigars. We also have Willie Herrera, their master blender, and it is my pleasure to welcome them right now. Buckle your seatbelts, lieutenants. It's going to be a fast hour. First of all, let's say hello to JD, also known as, Snacky, J Dizzle. Hold on. Volley Verga.
Correct.
Did I get it all right?
Yeah, the Volley Verga is most important, General.
Good to see you, my friend.
Thanks for having us, brother. Thanks
and of course,
much.
we've got Willie Herrera, who I've known for a long time. Reach across, say hello. Willie, many years at El Titan de Bronze with Sandy Cobus, who's just a lovely lady, great cigars, and you got recruited to work for Snacky.
He kidnapped me.
He kidnapped you.
Yeah, that's right. We kidnapped him. It's been a big deal for us to have Willie come on as our master blender. Willie joined the company not as a fresh cigar maker or as a brand owner or as a brand marketing guy, but the reason that Willie was such an exceptional fit, General, with Drew Estate was his background as a cigar manufacturer for Sandy, Titan de Bronze, for 8 years, really making cigars, purchasing the tobacco, fermenting the tobacco, and the culmination of the purchasing, the fermentation, and then finally the blending, not just a blender, but the real deal, a cigar manufacturer, finding that correct person to bring on to Drew Estate as a master blender was very difficult. Convincingly, Willie just got everybody's approval very quickly, came on board, and now it's been, what, feels like?
Just made 4 years.
4 years already?
Already.
I think it was just, seems like months ago, I was visiting you down at El Titan de Bronze.
Yeah.
And you know, it really, talking about working at El Titan de Bronze, you had to do it all, Willie. You had to secure the tobacco, you had to make sure the tobacco was aged, you had to make sure the cigar quality was great, you did the blends. You can't go to school for that. That's really, you got the on-the-job experience, and I'm sure that JD, that's one of the things that attracted you to Willie, JD.
Yeah, no, big time. Willie has his own style. You know, at Drew Estate, we have never followed in the path of the great Cuban cigar makers. This company, from minute one, we've always said this is not fifth generation cigar manufacturing. So we've never built our company, our rebirth of cigars, which is our mantra, it's our ethos, it's everything to us. It has all been, from minute one, innovation. It's all been, from minute one, creativity, whether it's Subculture Studios, Cigar Safari, all the wild collaboratory products we do, and whether it be Shady or whether it be with, you know, all of the different artists, 40 full-time graffiti artists. We've never taken an approach of this is the next thing after Cuba, or this is the follow-up to the Cuban cigar. That's never been our approach at Drew Estate, nor will it ever be, I hope. And with Willie, it was very interesting because as other companies started to move towards a little bit more exotic tobaccos, as other companies started to move into these other food groups of what I call the basic food groups of tobacco, dark air cured tobacco, dark fire cured tobacco, Virginias, Broilers, Orientals, stuff we've been using for 15 years. As other companies are starting to eye these things and move a little bit more in that direction of experimental tobacco, we double back and we bring in the first Cuban executive into the company, Willie Herrera, And you know, Willie's like this. The dudes see him, and since the minute we brought him into the company, we were all watching very carefully. How is this Cuban cigar roller? I mean, he's a Cuban man from Little Havana in Miami. That influence into Drew Estate, it was pivotal. It was at the right time, and it was unexpected. And you know, people love his blends. You know, so we knew he'd fit in good. And I'll tell you, the most impressive thing for me, he's heard me say it a few times, so I'm going to say it to you, General, right now. Watching Willie in Nicaragua, watching the man work, not just myself, growers who come down, suppliers who sell us tobacco, they come down and see how Willie works. The rollers start working on the production floor at 7 a.m. in the morning. You know what time Willie's up working with them? 7 a.m. His seat, right in the middle of where all the other cigar rollers are. No special nothing. He came into that factory and he started working at Drew Estate for a year, almost a year and a half, living in Nicaragua, only going home on the weekends to see his kids and his wife. That is what I really respect, because Drew Estate, before it was fashionable to be have a Nicaraguan blend. I'm not going to go into all the big trust brand products and all the boutique products and stuff have moved to Nicaragua, have highlighted Nicaragua, but Drew Estate's Nicaragua 100% to the core. It's a core competency of ours. Rebirth in cigars, a core competency of ours, Nicaragua. So it's not just a puro Nicaraguan cigar, but it's a puro Nicaraguan process of thinking. And what I love what Willie did was he got into that nitty gritty and he came into Nicaragua, positioned himself right in the middle of the cigar rolling floor, no special treatment. And he did that for a year and a half. And he garnered the respect, not just of the Mike Salucci's, the president of the company, not just the guys at the top level of the company. He went right down to everybody, whether it was the women who cleaned the floor, his respect for every single person in the factory. And that year and a half allowed Willie, watch, as an example, his first brand with Drew Estate was the Herrera Esteli, right? Very Cubanesque cigar. Willie's a traditional man, a traditional cigar manufacturer. What was his first blend? Right down the middle, Cubanesque. You smoked that Herrera Esteli. If you haven't smoked it and you like that Cuban experience, that's that product. But here we are a couple years later, and last year we released the Norteño. Look at the Norteño, the difference between the Norteño and the Herrera Esteli. The Herrera Esteli, banging straight Cubanesque tobacco. The puros, what do you call it? A puros, a tobacco, a cigar, it's all the same word to me. His puros, first one, Cuban right down the middle. Second evolution from there, he moves to the Norteño. That Norteño is a Mexican San Andreas wrapper, it's a Honduran binder, it's a Nicaraguan filler, but Willie, expand on the Norteño. It's not that, for me, it's not that classic Cuban taste like the Herrera Esteli provides.
No, it's a little bit outside of that zone. It's a little bit more, it's a bolder, more Nicaraguan style, bolder, rich, earthy, chocolatey, just very rich smoke. It's not as subtle, as smooth and just mild with subtle notes. This is a little bit more in your face. It's got a little bit more of a punch to it.
So a fuller flavor blend.
Absolutely.
Well, Jonathan, I think you covered everything. Thanks for joining us, everyone. That wraps it up from IPCPR 2015. You can just that's the one thing I love about Jonathan. I ask him one question, it makes my job very easy. And by the way, you are, after listening to you today and yesterday when we toured the booth, you are now the official fill-in host for the Cigar Dave show. So you show up, you can do the show, because you got it down.
Let's do it together.
No, I want to go vacation. I want to go, live the good life. You can sit in and do the work.
That's my hashtag. Let's do it together, JD.
Hashtag, let's do it together.
JD.
JD, let's talk about, I'll tell you, while you talk about the little bit of the background, your start, I'm going to light up. This is a special Norteño 2015 edition limitada. So, Willie, tell me about this. Then we're going to go in, Jonathan, and talking about the history, the start, how it all began.
Well, last year I did the Lancero. That was the Edición Limitada for last year under the Herrera Esteli line. This year I chose the Norteño line, which is my second line that I did for Drew Estate. And so I wanted to go with a different size that's not within the line. So I went with a Churchill 7x48 traditional size, same blend, same tobaccos, just make something a little bit different.
And I love it's almost an oval press.
I call it a soft press.
Soft press? Mm-hmm. Very, very nice looking cigar. And give me the wrapper, filler, and binder one more time.
It's a Mexican San Andreas wrapper.
Which I love.
Honduran.
The Torrents make great stuff.
Absolutely, Honduran binder and all Nicaraguan fillers.
Let me just
Great
take a
draw.
moment to expand on what Willie was talking about in terms of the Edición Limitada. For a moment, when you think about the Herrera brand family at this point, the first thing I want you to think about, General, is this. Willie Herrera is now our master blender across the board. So he's in charge, especially on all the traditional cigars. Some of the stuff in the acid range and the coffee-infused stuff and what we're doing on the fire-cured areas, Willie's still involved in all that because we want him in the mix. But across the board, Willie Herrera is the master blender of all the products. But for a moment, let's focus in for a second right into the Herrera brand family. The first one, which we described, is that real Cubanesque brand. That's the Herrera Esteli. It comes in a traditional Cuban style, how do you call it? The Cuban style box, cabinet box.
Top.
Boom. Second one he releases is the Norteño, which is the one you're smoking now, the Norteño line. Again, that San Andreas wrapper. It's gritty, it's rich, it's hearty, robust, and chocolatey, just the way he described it. What you're smoking now is something special, even to the Norteño line, which the Norteño only goes to our Drew Diplomat retailer accounts nationwide, and we'll talk about that shortly. But before we leave the Norteño line, what he's done now with the product you're smoking, that's what we call the Edición Limitada. And do you know why we create all these specialty sizes in the Herrera lines? Is because the kid is so creative, we got to give him something. Like, he gets pissed off. He's got his Herrera Esteli line. He's got his Norteño line, but he's always blending and going crazy in the factory. He's got 7 to 10 people who are working on blends for him and helping him tweak stuff and back and forth. We have to have an outlet for this guy, for Herrera, to continue all that creativity, because the dude is passionate. So a lot of these lines, it's not like we need to release this product. It wasn't even really a commemorative product.
Right.
It's basically us letting this tobacco mad scientist stay loose and enjoy himself.
Well, and it's not a corporate atmosphere in that you want the creativity. You like the creativity. You never want to say no. And the one thing you told me about is if one of your rollers comes up with a blend or an idea, you don't shoot them down. It's not a corporate environment. You run with it. So as you said, when people come up with things, it may not be in your plan, but you come out with it.
Yeah. That's
Now
right.
let's talk about your start, because very unique start, way back in New York, and very different path, as you were saying. And by the way, if you do fill in for me, you have to dress like this. And when I go on vacation, I will dress like that.
You have some old suits probably that you don't like no more, because right now I'm a little on a budget. So you hook me up with some of those suits.
Yeah, I know what your budget is.
You know what I'm
so yeah, I'm going to cry for you.
Right, Coffee Mill Argentina.
That's right. But let's talk about the start. Way back, New York.
Yeah, way back in the cut, we were just, we started off with nothing, with the core. We started off as good people with good hearts, with some ideas and stuff. But the beautiful thing about Drew Estate starting from the core was that everything we did was organic. Everything that we did was really, it was passion to survive, passion to grow, passion to just, we weren't there looking to prove ourselves. We had attitude naturally from minute one, because we New Yorkers. That's first and foremost. So being from New York, you just got that in you. Secondly, our passion for cigars was crazy. When we opened at the World Trade Center in Manhattan, was right after the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. As the World Trade Center was getting put back together again, they reopened the area, and they had some of these things called kiosks. You know what a kiosk is?
Sure.
It's like a push cart.
Right, you see them in the malls.
Yeah. So I was in law school at the time, and I opened.
You were in law school?
I graduated law school, man.
You're a barrister?
Absolutely not. I would never have passed the bar exam. But I'll tell you this.
Can you see, wait, I could just see JD walking into court looking like this.
Yes, Your Honor, we're going to get some shit taken care. Yeah, but you know what? I'll tell you.
I never knew that. I just learned something new.
I'm going to teach you something else you didn't know.
A barrister.
I graduated 7th in the class.
That I believe.
From the bottom. That's the truth. 2.068. Only Willie could get a lower
Well,
grade,
wait a
but
minute.
we're creative.
Wait, you graduated.
We're creative.
You graduated.
We graduated. We was like this. Mayor Dinkins was speaking. As soon as we got the thing, we were out the door eating pizza like 10 minutes later, because I owed a lot of money. We had to get to work. So we went through the law school. I used the law school money to fund the company. When we sold the company, the company paid my law school loans back.
Did you ever practice?
I told you, I never took the bar exam. I
never took the bar, okay.
No, what are you, crazy? You think they're gonna let me practice law? Would you want me to be your attorney?
Absolutely yes, because you have great passion. And you want an attorney that is passionate about the client.
Well, that's the trouble, is that I had no passion towards law at all. But I'll tell you what I did have a passion. My passion was all about rebirth of cigars, because when we started the company, it was so hard. It was so, you know, sometimes people say, JD, what's the reason of your success of the company? Or not you, the company, Drew Estate. And you would say, well, you surprise them sometimes by my response. Sometimes, you know, I say, look, the success of the company was based on a culmination of things. One of those things was this philosophy, our ethos and rebirth of cigars. People see it so many times that, you know, maybe it starts to get blinded because it's there all the time in front of you. But remember something, when I started in the business, I think your first trade show was 87, 89?
No, 1995 is when we started the show.
My first was 96, Cincinnati, okay?
Cincinnati, that's exactly right.
It was a very traditional atmosphere. Right. Everything was about, you know, my man is Cuban here, but everything was about the Cuban cigar, the Cuban cigar roller, the Cuban family in cigars. It was a very, and beautiful to this day. I mean, it's a romantic, I'm a fan. Some of the best manufacturers who've ever lived, Cuban guys from who obviously spread out after Castro into Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican, Mexico, Brazil, even in the Canary Islands where they would roll cigars in their homes and bring the batches at night and get paid for their work. It was a dynamic atmosphere once the big bang happened after Cuba. But we knew when we were coming in, it was not a social movement in smoking cigars. It was, I'm gonna smoke my cigar, I wanna be left alone, I'm gonna light up my cigar in my armchair, and no one's gonna bother me, it's my alone time. But Drew Estate had this attitude of, come on, let's go, we're gonna do it together. It's a social experience, smoking together at the cigar shop, smoking together as a group, Facebook groups, this whole, look at new media and how Drew Estate has been behind new media. Who has been more behind new media? I mean, you had a strong push from Yuba, strong push from Pete, Tatuaje, and Drew Estate. Drew Estate pushed new media and cigar media very much forward. It was something we always felt because it believed in, because of that social experience. So starting off from the beginning, our mentality about the whole process, and then of course, then there's the pain, there's the struggle, there's the keeping the phones on, keeping the lights on. And I moved to Nicaragua in 1998. The fellas kept things running on the US side. And I started in Nicaragua in a very small little house. We started off with 5 workers and myself. And that was the very, very base of where things started on the Nicaraguan side. And Drew Nicaragua started at that point. And we started very humble, and we got very lucky. A lot of guys reached out and helped us, whether it was Old Man Padron or Kiki Berger, Oliva, Gustavo Cura from Oliva, Fritz Bossert at the time, ASP. For some reason, everybody was like, this dude's a madman. There's something definitely wrong, a loose, a screw loose. But you know what? They were entertained. And I got the nickname in Nicaragua, El Gringo Loco. Now, other people I see using it on bands, and it's all nice and cute. But that was the fact. And you see, at that time, every house had bullet holes in it. Every street was war-torn. It was just through a revolution. Think of the US Revolution. We lost more military of our guys in our own civil war. Same thing in Nicaragua. This was a bloody, awful, terrible revolution. I don't want to get to the politics of it, but I'll tell you this. Everything was torn apart in the whole country. By the time I moved down to Nicaragua, every single house still had bullet. And when I say every house, there was every house. There was 3 restaurants in Esteli. It was a mess. Things were very different. It took you a year and a half to get a landline. We got cell phones 7 years ago. You know, we had no cell phones for my first 8 years there. So what's the point? In that struggle, right? Sometimes your greatest victories, your greatest triumphs are reached through the greatest adversity. The things that are holding you down, the things that are crippling you, the things that are the worst, those are the things that make you stronger as a man, make you stronger as a leader of your business and of the industry. And that's where Drew Estate, we were always underestimated, and we always had so much against us. I always felt, and I always say to the fellas, Salucci, all the guys, we have to work twice as hard. You got to get up earlier, you got to work later. Our products have to be twice as good, and I don't mean that our cigars are better than other people's. They have to be explosive. Our products, Drew Estate products, are explosive. As we create brand segments, that segmentation has to be truly segmented, original, classic, something you can see as a movement forward for 5 to 10 or more years. It wasn't just about, oh, we need a Connecticut shade cigar, we need a mild cigar, Maduro. There was no philosophy like that. It was all about a movement. This was a straight blanket. We weren't filling the pipe, man. We were breaking the pipe.
Well, and the expression I like to say is you're an overnight success. It just took 20 years of overnights.
Yeah.
It never happens easy. People look at it now and see the size. You got a huge booth. There's a lot of action. but it doesn't happen overnight. A lot of struggle, a lot of sacrifice that people forget. And one of the people you mentioned, Don Kikiberger, that I want to mention. He was a real gentleman. Always loved seeing him in Miami. Passed away last year unexpectedly, but loved by everybody in the cigar industry. And he was really a gem of a guy, and we all miss him.
Yeah, Don Kiki, Cuban crafters. You know, the interesting thing about, the beautiful thing about this industry that you love, that Willie loves, myself, all our guys, you know, as much as there's a lot of competition within the cigar industry, there's a lot of love. And there's a lot of, there's the games that go on and some politics and stuff like that, but, you know, a lot of the guys really, just like at Drew Estate, right? Kiki did for me and for us what we do for so many manufacturers and so many of the guys who you'll see out there. I mean, I ain't gonna get into any names right now, but what we've done, what we try and do is, we see these boutique manufacturers in Nicaragua. We always out there try and help. Like a kid, Skip Martin, does a nice job. He needed broadleaf wrapper. I went to the Olivas. I said, listen, I'll personally vouch for 10 grand for broadleaf wrapper for this kid. This is 3-4 years ago, because he needed the broadleaf wrapper. No one was selling him the wrapper, and then he had no, I don't know if he had no money or not, but we put it up. We've done that many, many times throughout the industry, throughout the years. We let people come stay at our facility, you know, www.cigarsafari.com. Cigar Safari, you guys know what that is. We do our 20 trips a year, 16 consumers per trip. It sells out in 10 minutes. This year already sold out for 2016. But what's the point? We have this incredible facility in Nicaragua. It's the second biggest factory on earth of premium cigars. And think about this Bad News Bears rag team crew that we got, right? We're a little rough, but it's a diamond. And we know that allowing that beautiful organization that we have to even seep outside of Drew Estate and always help the new guys coming in. Let me tell you something. First of all, a lot of these guys wouldn't be able to do what they've done if people didn't help them, because we know if people didn't help Drew, we would never have achieved where we are today. So we try and pass that along. It's an altruistic, it's something that you get from your parents. It's something your parents, it don't matter what business you're in from, it's something you either learn from your parents or you learn from the hard knocks through your life. So we are always trying to be good for the industry, and we're always trying to expand the industry, expand the reach of the industry, expand the scope. Think about it. You and I spoke the other day about brand segmentation, right? Think about Acid Cigars. Acid Cigars is the first brand that really came into the industry that broke the system and said, look, infused cigars, not flavored, we don't use the F word, it's dirty. Infused cigars, what we do, not looking at cigars, premium cigars and flavored cigars. We're erasing that. We're gonna say premium, traditional, premium, infused. That's it, that's your choice. Premium, traditional, premium, infused. That right there was a defining moment in the history of cigars. Just like Camacho Corojo, defining moment. One's a tobacco, one's a philosophy. That philosophy of premium, traditional, premium, infused began with Acid. That's a brand segmentation. A couple of years later, we dropped the Kahlua. We're the licensee from the Kahlua brand, Allied Domecq, and we move into the coffee infused segment with Java, Tobacco Especial. Again, boom, second segmentation. Again, you're talking about a super premium cigar, open up the system, create a new channel. Now you have, of course, traditional cigars. You got premium infused cigars. Now you got the coffee infused segment. Later on with T52. Liga Privada number 9, that's a hot cigar. I think you got Cigar Aficionados two years in a row, the hottest brand in the world, whatever it is. Great, but there's nothing unique about the cigar from a brand segmentation. You might love the cigar for its taste profile. T52 Liga Privada, that created a segment. That was broadleaf, and even more importantly, the T52 was stalk cut, stalk cured tobacco. And that really, at that point, there was no retailers and people walking around, this tobacco is primed and this tobacco is stalk cut. What we do with that Liga to T52, we cut the stalk at the bottom, flip it upside down, and we're allowing the nutrients that are still within that vein to come down into the tobacco. That, my friend, was the third. And now we just dropped last year the Kentucky Fire Cured tobacco. Kentucky Fire Cured cigars, again, creating this fourth and final for us at this point brand segment, which is this use of the fire curing. Because everybody today, look at the barbecues, look at bourbon, look at bacon, look at smoke. It's all, ready? It's all about the smoke. That's what it comes down to. Smoking things, whether you smoke, you love scotch. Drink a peaty scotch, a smoked scotch. What is it? They take in peat, not peat moss, peat, the heavy peat, and they burn it. They do that, they hit the barley, right? Bringing that barley up with the smoke. gives it that peaty taste. Same thing with tobacco. With the Kentucky Fire Cured, that's the name of the brand, Kentucky Fire Cured. What we do with that tobacco, we hang that Kentucky seed tobacco, grown in Kentucky, hang it in the barns in Kentucky, blast it with the smoke, 7 days on, 1 day off, 7 days on, lift that smoke, knock the crap out of it with that smoke, and smoke it up like you're smoking a steak in your backyard. Go into your backyard, grill a steak, and smoke a steak. Taste the difference. One ain't better than the other, but I'll tell you what, Kentucky Fried Cured Cigars, people say, you either hate them or you love them. But you know what? You either love them or you're gonna love them. That's the truth, because how do you deny smoke? When you smoke a steak, when you smoke a scotch, when you smoke anything, smoke a ham hock, well, don't matter what you do, that smoky goodness in that Liga, in that Kentucky Fried Cured. So, you know, our philosophy, it's not anything about like a lineage that starts here and ends there. We are in the beginning at Drew Estate. This is the beginning of what we're doing. So what we need is to continually think, not about creating new stuff. We released Liga Privada. We didn't come out with a brand for 4 years, Dave, after Liga Privada. That's unheard of in this industry. We waited 4 years to come out with Undercrown, and you talked about it before. You said, hey, wait a second. You guys, it was pretty cool that you guys made a cigar that was made on the factory floor. That message, I love what we've done now with the new one, with the shade.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. We will talk about that. Take a breath, relax.
Yeah.
We've got a little libation that we're going to enjoy in just a few moments. We're going to give you a little time to catch your breath. And by the way, the Kentucky Fire Cured cigar, the Muat, was our Officers Club selection earlier this year. People loved it, off the charts. Jonathan Drew, JD, J Dizzle. We've got Willie Herrera of Drew Estate Cigars. We will continue from the 2015 IPCPR in New Orleans. Give this guy a break.
Give me a break.
Bourbon Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, the site of the 2015 IPCPR Convention, where all these cigar retailers and manufacturers have gathered, and much of what we've been talking about you will see on your retailer shelves very soon. Once again, we're rejoined by J Dizzle, Snacky, Valverga, Jonathan Drew of Drew Estate. We've got Willie Herrera, Master Blender, and JD, gave you a little bit of a break. And you said, General, I need a little bit of a libation. And you said you came prepared. So let's do it.
I came something special for you, my friend. You know why? You're not only the general, but you're an honorary Drew diplomat. So for that, we're going to pour you some of the Pappy Van Winkle. We brought the Pappy Van Winkle 20 year.
That is rare stuff, folks.
It is real rare, and I'm going to pour you a little bit of this stuff here.
And then we'll talk about that Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve that you did. Oh, look at that. And a generous pour at that. A generous, look at that. That would cost you about $350 at a local restaurant near you. This is absolutely magnificent. Let's do a little toast here to great friends, great cigars, good health.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dave. How is that, man?
Oh, that is magnificent. Smooth, little maple, just very complex. I'm going to take another sip. Go ahead, talk. You host the rest of the show while I drink.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave. We spoke for a moment there about the Pappy Van Winkle. So
perfect lead-in.
Yes, it is perfect lead-in. We brought the box right here. We got the Pappy Van Winkle. Just to give a heads up about this product, it's not a giant brand for Drew Estate, but it's a giant crowning achievement. The Pappy Van Winkle barrel fermented cigars is something we released. We signed a deal with the family, the Pappy Van Winkle family in Kentucky, and Julian Van Winkle himself approved the blend. We moved forward. I had to apologize to everybody who we wound up selling the cigars to, because they were 3 months later than the 3 months late, which was 6 months. And it was worth the wait. And the people who purchased on the first round, they made history. And when I wrote the little document to all the people who waited so long for their cigars, you know, it hit me when I wrote it, Dave. I said, if you have purchased the Pappy Van Winkle this first round, I said, congratulations, because you just made history. Imagine if you had one of the first bottles from the first actual distillation of Pappy Van Winkle.
Correct.
Imagine you had one of those bottles. And that's the passion we feel about this product right here. This Pappy Van Winkle cigar, and you guys can do a little photo shoot after.
Hold
hit
that up.
it, man. That
Hold
box
that
is
up,
for
JD.
you, brother.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
So is the bottle.
You bet, yeah. So basically for us, this product is a crowning achievement. As you know, Dave, we don't make a lot of brands for people.
No, you don't.
We make the Java for Rocky Patel, which we've been doing for 10 years. We're not out there hustling, trying to sell brands to people. We're very, 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 very select with what we do. But when the Van Winkles came to us and they said, listen, we want to work with you on this product, we could not say no. So the Pappy Van Winkle product, it sold out for the year. We made 6,000 Robustos, 6,300 Toros. It was off the chain. And you want to know the difference between this product from anything else in the world that's ever been made before? What kind of cigar are you going to make that can pair with Pappy Van Winkle? Not just from the product that's in your mouth and what you're tasting, but from that emotional moment of drinking Pappy. That feeling when you drink Pappy, it's not something, even if you got Big Jack, you ain't gonna drink Pappy every day. It's a special cigar. It's a special drink. So to pair that, we wanted to do something that just broke the chain. So what we did was, we took that fire-cured tobacco, Kentucky seed, Kentucky grown, we hung it, fire-cured it, shipped it to St. James Parish right here, where we barrel fermented it. We took 500 pounds of tobacco, and with a car jack, we stuffed it in a 53-gallon barrel. We let that sit for 1 year with only 3 rotations. That tobacco was then blended in Nicaragua with the full team, and we wound up with this product. So that's one of the highlight achievements for this year. It's a milestone for our company. And then what I consider to be a milestone is what this guy and the team have done.
Undercrown Shade. Willie, great job. And that is a Connecticut cigar with a lot of edge. There's a lot of flavor to that cigar. That's not a mild flavored cigar, which is unusual for a Connecticut shade wrap cigar. So tell us about the Undercrown Shade, the development of that cigar.
Well, the Undercrown Shade is very special to me. That is the first cigar that I blend for Drew Estate for a national release. It's the first cigar that I blend for them that doesn't fall under the Herrera brand or umbrella. So I was very nervous, you know, for a number of reasons. I've never worked a lot with Connecticut shade wrapper. I've always been a big fan of Habano, Mexican San Andres, broadleaf, Brazilian Matafina. Not much with Ecuadorian Connecticut, so it was a challenge for me, and it was a challenge for myself to bring out a product that was going to be released nationwide for Drew Estate. So it took me a while. I've told a number of people in the booth, It's the hardest cigar I've ever blended.
Really?
It took me a long time.
Why was that?
A lot of blends. Well, because I've never really worked with that wrapper, and in order for me to get the notes, the tones, the flavors, the body out of that wrapper, blended with that wrapper, it was a challenge. It was a challenge. We came up over 100 different blends, and I was really happy with the end result. Passed it around. Even before we finalized the blend, I was very happy with a particular code. We give codes to all of the different blends that I make in Nicaragua. And I picked that one. I handed it out to a bunch of people that I know that smoke and have a good palate. And they all seemed to enjoy it. They all liked it. And then at that time, I presented it to the team. We all smoked it. It got approved.
Well, it's my initial impressions is that had a lot of flavor, very balanced, but had a lot of sizzle on that cigar in terms of spiciness, in terms of some zestiness. That's the best word, little zesty pepper almost. So it was not what I thought. I thought it was going to be a very creamy, mild cigar. So it's somebody that wants a medium cigar with a lot of zest, a lot of flavor, a lot of spiciness. Now, JD, you really now have the luxury in that you can just concentrate on the creative process because late 2014, you announced the sale of Drew Estate Cigars to Swisher International. Peter Galoni, one of the finest gentlemen in the world of cigars, the CEO of Swisher. He's an incredible guy, very affable person. I've gotten to know him very well, and he was making through Alex Goldman, Royal Gold Cigars, one of their subsidiaries. You were making the Nirvana, a nice Cameroon wrap cigar. And here we are about a year later after that. They ended up buying the company and giving you the freedom to do what you love best, and that's being creative.
Yeah, they didn't just give the freedom to me. I mean, we had a structure at the company. Mike Salucci was already a president of our company. He's been there almost from the beginning. And not just one of the best salesmen in the industry, and I know them all, but one of the most gentlemanly, knowledgeable guys. Everybody likes him. He's a man's man, and he really put together a great team prior to the sale, and it just flowed right from there. From the sale, his team is just superb, and I'm a part of that. I'm a part of Mike's team, and we really, our creative side, we have an exceptional group, including Willie, myself, people in Nicaragua. We have a new VP of the company, Jamie Estrada, Sam Morales, who works with it. Well,
right, Sam, sure.
Sam's doing a great job, and that brings us to there is no change at Drew Estate because of Swisher. Drew Estate is constantly changing. It's been changing ever since the first minute we started because we're not prescribed to any system that anybody else has. It's the Christopher Columbus rule, man. We chart our destiny, and that destiny continues to change. It continues to improve. We continue to make mistakes. We continue to take risk. But at the end of the day, what we do, we make magic, man. So that magic, Swisher was very smart. First of all, this is a business, this is a company that's been around 105, give or take, years. It's a family-owned business. They're smart people, they're good businessmen, and Peter's exceptional.
And Peter, I remember when they announced the sale, I spoke to him, and he said, General, I'm just going to let them do what they do. They've been this successful. And he's a smart executive to realize that, because how many times have we seen mergers or acquisitions where they buy the company because it's incredibly successful, and then they immediately change everyone and try to change the culture? And Peter said, we're not going to do that. We want to be a partner in that if they need anything, if they need capital, they need tobacco, they need our guidance, expertise, we're there for them. And I know that Peter and Mike Salucci, your CEO, work very closely.
Yep.
And that's a great partnership and I saw Peter in the booth, and he was very nondescript. He was just kind of chit-chatting, talking to some customers, and that is an incredible luxury. So clearly, it was a great marriage all the way around. JD, let's talk about two cigars that are not really, they are for sale, but they're very, very limited. Briefly, let's talk about those.
No, you were right in the beginning by saying they're actually not for sale, but they are limited indeed. One of them is this product right here. This is something, when I do my events, I come in with a little something different. I want to have something a little special for the event, something commemorative, you know? So what I like to bring right now is this Undercrown right here. It's called the Undercrown Manifesto. And what this is you know, I'm never a person who says a Drew Estate cigar is incredible, or a Fuente or Padron or any of the. I never talk about something being incredible or not. What I talk about is this product. This is a sound cigar. This is a Liga Privada filler, the L40 filler, except in a 38 ring gauge, and the wrapper is the Herrera Esteli wrapper. So let me ask you a question, General. It's got a Liga Privada filler. It's got a Herrera Esteli wrapper. Why is it called Undercrown?
That's a good question.
Because I effing said it is. That's why. That's that. Now, on the second piece here, and more importantly for me, this right here, this is the Liga
Just hold
A.
that up so people
yeah, I'm
can
gonna
see
actually,
that. Are you
I'm
gonna
gonna
take
do
it
it
out?
like this
Perfect.
right here. So this is the Liga Privada A, which is a cigar that was my predecessor to the manifesto that I used to give out. The Liga A right here is something that we really no longer have. It never was sold for sale. It's something that we've always used at a JD event to cut and light for people. Because look, you come to a cigar event, right? And a lot of cigar events, what are the people actually cutting and giving away, if anything? Something on the lower end. They don't want to give something that is expensive, or they don't want to give something that you want to get something good, you got to buy it. We always took a different approach. It's how we've handled our final consumers from day one. When we do an event, whether it's Willie, myself, and we're giving somebody a Liga Privada A, this would be $50, $60 retail,
That is
MSRP,
a magnificent looking stick.
but that's what we're cutting for the people, because that brings us to Drew Diplomats. Everything about Drew Estate is integration between Drew Estate and the final consumer. It's all about that integration. It's all about the final consumer being part of our company. You want to reach out to JD, drewnika@yahoo.com. You want to reach out to Willie, you're going to reach him. You can reach out to us at any point. We're involved with the final consumers and showing the consumers that love, coming to a Drew Estate event. We do 1,400 events nationwide. Our sales force, those guys are not sales guys. Those guys, for the word these days, are ambassadors, but these guys are factory representatives, and we want them to show some love to the final consumer who's there. So you come to a Drew Estate event, you know you're going to have a good time, you know you're going to have fun, and now with the Drew Diplomat program, at both the retail and consumer side, this Drew Diplomat is off the chain. It's stupid.
And I should say the A stands for Alpha, which is what we're all about here at the Cigar Dave Show.
Maybe that
no
will
B,
be...
no betas, baby.
No,
A.
no, only the A's.
And the next version could be AM, Alpha Male.
Bingo.
All right, Jonathan Drew, JD, Willie Herrera of Drew Estate Cigars. When we come back, we will continue. I got one other quick question for JD when we come back, and then we're going to give you an exclusive inside look at the incredible Drew Estate multi-level booth. It's not even a booth, a multi-level facility here at the IPCPR Convention. And by the way, since I am an honorary Drew Diplomat, I get diplomatic immunity for what all happened last night on Bourbon Street as we get ready to wrap it up here from the IPCPR 2015 in New Orleans. I can tell you I did not go to Hand Grenades, Drinks, and Beer on Bourbon Street. I've gone other places, but not Hand Grenades. As we come to you once again from the 2015 IPCPR Convention in New Orleans, and I want to ask JD, Jonathan, Drew, one other question. You have a lot of varied flavors, not flavors, various taste profiles in the Drew Estate portfolio, but there's really nothing, acid's mild, but nothing really more than that real super mild, creamy starter cigar. Any chances that that's something you'd look at down the road?
We're looking at everything, okay? But again, remember what we talked about earlier. We don't come out with products to satisfy open areas in the market. We don't sit down once a year and say, now we're going to discuss. What we got to do is from our heart. Drew Estate works from the heart. If we might be on a kick working in the Connecticut River Valley, making Liga 9, making Habano, maybe Willie's got some kind of secret thing going on right now in the Connecticut River Valley. We're working on heavy leaf tobacco. We want medium plus and up. Right now, that's where our head is at. Now, with the acid line, you know, that's a very mild product, mild to medium. It's a product that a person who, when you're smoking an acid, you know what our number one email is? It's the only cigar my wife lets me smoke in the house. Number two, it's the first cigar I started on. Acid is a product that's mild and it allows people to come in, smoke it, adults of smoking age, and not get knocked off their feet, not get pushed back. A guy who doesn't want to get overwhelmed with the meaty, gritty, heavy bomb stuff that Willie loves. Some of these guys just want a really nice, floral, mild, beautiful smoke that just transcends time. You're smoking an acid, and it's one of these cigars where everybody around you, it's that contagious effect. It's unbelievable. So we're not looking to fill any market opening right now. There's other companies who are making great mild cigars. You know, the Reserva Real is a great mild cigar. Rocky's got a great mild cigar. So there's other people who make products like that. We got to do stuff where our heart is at. I want Willie to just continue what he's doing, which is just getting berserk in Nicaragua and just, you know, make it. And so he's working on his Brazils and his Mexicos and his heavy leaf stuff. And if that's where the future takes us, as long as it's from our heart, we're going to rebirth cigars every single day. That's what we're doing.
I'm going to let you take a rest. You need a rest after the energy you just expended over the last 45 minutes.
You know.
But JD, Jonathan, Drew, Willie Herrera, Drew Estate. Now, we had a chance to tour with JD the Drew Estate pavilion, if you will, here at the IPCPR Convention. We're going to give you an inside look because JD, of course, went crazy, and he really explained all the background and the details behind the cigars and the philosophy. Let's take a look. Always one of the most exciting and craziest places at the IPCPR. I'm speaking, it's a good thing, Jonathan. I'm speaking of the Drew Estate cigar booth. It's more than just a booth. It is a happening. It is an event. Jonathan Drew, the founder, the creative genius, the maestro of Drew Estate, front and center, good friend.
Oh my God.
Well, I'm building you up.
Yeah, you're scaring me.
I'm not scaring you. You know you make great cigars.
Diabolical genius is better than the creative.
He's a diabolical genius. Right. That sounds great. So we're here. Jonathan, I remember when you started, it was a small booth, loud music. People like, who are these guys? And here it is, what, 15 years later?
Almost 20.
Is it almost 20?
Yeah.
And now you've gone from just the acids to the naturals to making cigars that everyone enjoys. And the acid's still a huge seller.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah. It's still in there. Well, listen, first of all, we love the show. We love what you do for the industry, how you brought everybody together throughout the years, and you guys still remain relevant. Everything that you're doing, we've always supported it, but now even more that we're able to spend more time together and have our travel schedules coordinate better. So thank you so much for having us part of what you do.
Well, we appreciate it. I got to tell you, and you know this, Jonathan, the cigar industry is filled with great people, great personalities, great friends, and you and I chit-chat. Every time I talk to him, he's running out of a Starbucks. He's like, General, I got to call you right back. I've got my double mocha latte grand waiting for me.
Right.
But we don't just talk cigar, we just talk about life in general,
Everything.
how everybody's doing, share a lot of great conversations. And you know, when you think about it, it always starts around a great cigar. That's what it's about. Not necessarily the cigar you're smoking, but who you're with.
Yeah,
I know
you
your
bet.
dad's here, family's here, that's really what it's all about.
Well, we're all here, Dave. You know, whether it's Drew Estate, whether it's Padron, Fuente, Lito, Pete Johnson, Pepin, Padron, all of the brands, I mean, we're all here together. Yeah, we compete, but it's a lot of friendly competition. And from our perspective at Drew Estate, you know, the things that, everything we're not makes me everything we are. You know what I'm saying? We're at Drew Estate, when we look at the industry as in a holistic manner across the board, and what we've tried to do is charter the industry to look at different concepts, different ways to think about what? About tobacco. So whether those are segments that we're creating early on from the acid segment, which you mentioned, which is this infused segment,
right?
Then later on into the coffee infused segment with Java and with the Tobacco Especial. These are new segments as we moved forward into Liga Privada with the T52, taking Habano seed tobacco and growing it in the Connecticut River Valley, a new segment, and then finally with the fire cured tobacco with the Kentucky fire cured cigars. These are new segments that really didn't exist in the cigar industry. Meanwhile, when you think about like the Kentucky fire cured cigar,
which we featured at the Officers Club selection earlier this year, which people love. They raved about
nicely
it.
done. That type of tobacco has been being processed and produced for 200 years, but it was always produced for smokeless style tobaccos or for pipe tobaccos. It was never taken out of the environment for 200 years and brought into a premium and super premium product. So these are the kind of things that when you really think about Drew Estate success and where Drew Estate fits within the industry, I call it, you know, is there a place, is there a meaning behind it? Is there a place to be? With our product lines and the segments that we create, there's segments that are new to the industry, but not necessarily that have never been done before. So taking fire curing, when we take that tobacco, put it through the fire cure process, bring that tobacco and include it into a premium cigar, that new segmentation that we develop, that's what brings a lot of excitement and a lot of change to the cigar industry while still retaining the traditions and the history that we love so much.
It's the JD Creative Touch. And one of the cigars that I want to talk about is Undercrown, because, you know, as you said, you've changed, you started with new tobaccos, but now you're doing something on the more traditional side. And the Undercrown, medium plus in terms of flavor, but there is a big segment that likes a mild medium cigar. And here we have Undercrown Shade. And I just love the packaging. I love the white, the gold on the white. Just a very elegant looking box, similar to the original Undercrown, a little bit different band. Tell me about this blend.
All right, well, first of all, thinking about the word I was looking for before is a French word, raison d'être. It means reason to be. Does something have a reason to be, or is it just another and another and another, right? What is the message? What is the raison d'être of the Undercrown brand? When we were making Liga Privada in the early days, all of our workers were smoking the damn cigars. They were burning through so many cigars. We were always under this tight shortage of the Liga Privada. So a lot of the retail stores were really getting upset with us. So we went to the rollers and we said, hey guys, listen, blend yourself something else to smoke. We need you to stop smoking all the Liga Privada.
They were smoking the profits.
Dude, that's the real truth. And we want them to enjoy the cigars, but we were really desperate for Liga. So with that, we brought out the original Undercrown, which we call now Undercrown Maduro, which we allowed the rollers to make a cigar that they would love themselves. The damn cigar was so good, Dave, that we brought it out nationwide on the Undercrown. The cigar had a life before a name. The cigar had a reason to be. The reason to be for that cigar was so the rollers had something they loved as much as Liga to smoke.
Right.
So then we took that blend. We were like, that's easy. That's organic and it's easy breezy. We took it out. We brought the Undercrown brand out, and it's done quite well. It's been a really virally successful cigar. So this year, what we wanted to do was we wanted Willie Herrera, our master blender, we wanted to have Willie challenge the rollers to see if they were able, the same guys who helped us create the original Undercrown, we had Willie basically challenge the rollers to be able to see, can we get them to produce something as good as the Undercrown Maduro, but on the shade side. So it took a while. It took Willie about a year or so, year and a half. And The finished product, really surprising for me, has been the reaction so far. Not just at the trade show, but people who smoke the cigar. It's not your grandfather's Connecticut.
No, this has definitely got a lot of flavor. A little bit of kick to it, but not a lot, but just enough. I thought this was going to be very mild and creamy. It's more on the medium side, little tinge of creaminess, but definitely some spice.
Yeah, so the Undercrown Connecticut, it's got depth to it, it's got complexity to it, and it's something who the mild guy who's looking for something to smoke where it's not going to blow their head off, they're going to like it. The medium guy who's looking for something with flavor to it but not super strength, they're going to enjoy it. And the strong guy, he's going to like to make the cigar in the morning or the afternoon, or he might not like it at all, and that's okay too, because we have other products for them to smoke, and so does the rest of the cigar industry.
And speaking of other products, you talked about Liga Privada. Let's go over to the corner here, because you have a new addition to the Liga Privada Único Serie called Ratzilla. Let's show that. Let's grab that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this one right here, this is the Ratzilla right here. Many of you may be familiar with the Dirty Rat. This has been one of Drew Estate's most popular cigars we've ever made. And when I say popular, it's never going to add up to the numbers of acid, you know, of Cuba Cuba. But the Dirty Rat has been this phenomenon of a cigar for us. So the big brother to the Dirty Rat is the Ratzilla. So really, this should be positioned like this. The Ratzilla is one step up. It's basically the Papa Grande size to the Dirty Rat. And the Ratzilla, same blend pretty much as the Dirty Rat, just in a little bit bigger of a cigar. So, you know, the Ratzilla has been, for us, it's been a powerful brand in terms of it's always something that we've been giving out when people come to Cigar Safari, and we'll talk about the experiential side of Cigar Safari, you know, a little bit later. But Ratzilla's always been a factory cigar that we give to people while they're there. And then last Christmas, we shipped each of our Drew Diplomat retailer stores, we shipped each of them 3 bundles of Ratzilla of 10 counts, and people just haven't stopped bitching and complaining. They want more of it. So I said, look, to the fellas, you really should think about taking the Ratzilla. All right, you'll make a little bit less T52s because we're using up that wrapper and stuff. But let's get the Ratzilla out on the market a little bit. Let's get some of the cigars to the retailers because they really want it. It's a really nice product. These are one of the products in life as a company. Forget other brands, because there's a lot of companies with a lot of great brands, right, Dave? But Ratzilla is one of these undeniable products. Ratzilla is one of these cigars where you smoke it, it's just so overwhelmingly good. But not for the guy who's looking for mild.
No.
And not for the guy who's looking for medium.
Right, it's a full-flavored cigar.
For the dude who's looking for a full-strength cigar.
Right.
It's one of those undeniable products. Remember, like when Camacho Corojo first came out, or the original, the Tatuaje first came out.
Right.
They were undeniable. You just had to love them. That's why they're still around today. This Ratzilla, even though the name's a little creepy, the Ratzilla, that product is just explosive. It's very hard not to like that product if you like a full-bodied stick.
Well, you can tell Jonathan's got a little passion for the product. Now, you mentioned the Drew Diplomat. Now, I've got the Drew Diplomat ribbon here. Does that mean I get Drew Diplomatic immunity?
Out of here.
Now, as a diplomat, does that mean I can get out of tickets?
Oh yeah, in Russia,
I can't be arrested.
Listen, you're huge in Japan, and with that, you have ultimate protection in many countries throughout the world. You're good. No, the Drew Diplomat is the Drew Diplomat program is something that we do for our retailers. We have about 3,000, give or take, retailers who are the premium store retailers throughout the United States. If you're a Drew Diplomat retail account, it means that you're doing certain things to present the Drew Estate products in the way that we want you to. It's a way that we're asking for the retailers to participate, to put our products and present them in a certain way and in a certain quantity. And for that, we do a lot of things for you. For instance, if you're a Drew Diplomat retailer, you get the Liga Privada 9, you get the T52, the Undercrown, the Norteño with Willie, which we're going to talk about.
Right.
So you get a lot of our specialty products when you participate in the Drew Diplomat program. And one of the things that we're dropping like really soon is the Drew Diplomat app. So it'll be a place for people who are Drew Estate lovers or cigar lovers around the world to be able to come to the app and participate in different things that we're doing and be able to get early ideas and see things and experience part of Drew Estate from different angles and from different views that nobody else will be able to see. So Drew Diplomat, both the retail side from a business standpoint as well as the consumer side, there's really a nexus there that's kind of, it's clean, man. It's a beautiful way to be able to be intertwined with the final consumers to let them see what we're doing and us be able to see what they're doing. And that's that connectivity that nobody has connectivity to the final consumers like Drew Estate. Nobody's got connectivity with us because you want to hit JD, everybody can find JD. You want to send me text messages, call me, find me on Facebook, email, this and that, everybody hits JD all day long. All the companies very accessible to the final consumers. When a dude's got a problem with a stick, they send JD an email. I take care of it right away, quick, fast. It's a pretty big company, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Well, as a Drew honorary diplomat, I get whatever I want.
You get whatever you want even before that. You're Cigar Dave.
All right, let's move over here. Norteño, we're going to talk about a brand new addition to Norteño, and that's something that that Willie Herrera, who came from El Titan de Bronce, Little Havana, has been a great addition to Drew Estate Cigars. But let's move over because you've got a brand new Herrera Esteli Toro.
Yes. It's actually, this is really...
I'll let you slide in over there.
I'm going to slide in over this way. So, you know, when you think about cigars, there's the romantic side to cigars. There's this beautiful experience where you move into this dreamlike state where you're experiencing your cigar and it's taking you to this incredible journey. That's the romantic side. On the other side, there's the practical side. There's the business side to it. This cigar is the Toro. It's the same Toro that comes without the tube, but this basically is a packaging solution. It becomes a way for a person to be able to take a Herrera Esteli on the go.
And I love it. You know what? You travel, you're on the golf course, you're fishing, you're going to dinner. I love the tubes. It's a very elegant. I love the red. Plus, you know, just bold. It stands out.
Plus, not just that. One thing that I've learned about this Herrera Esteli product, it's a sophisticated cigar. It's a very, you know, Drew Estate, we never had a Cuban influence to Drew Estate. Willie Herrera is the master blender now at Drew Estate. He's the first Cuban who's moved into an executive position at Drew Estate. We've always been kind of the antithesis to the Cuban cigar experience. I mean, look at my brands. Acid, Natural, Ambrosia, Kentucky Fire Cured. I'm doing wild shit. None of it's Cuban-esque, right? You get a guy like Willie Herrera, who's a Cuban guy from Little Havana. You know, it's the zigzag zigular. Every time that somebody thinks, you know...
Wait, the zigzag zigular. I got to remember that.
Well, a little different. The zigzag zigular.
Zigulare. That's a great cigar. The Zigulare. The Zigulare. It's got I'm telling you, it's coming next year. You know, the Zigulare.
And that's what it's about, Dave. So when everybody sees us going one way, think about how Drew Estate operates. Everybody moving in the direction. See Drew Estate moving in this direction, more in the direction. We're pushing the limit with tobacco. And we double back with Willie Herrera. Really traditional Cuban cigar maker. This guy, he doesn't like market brands. This guy ran a factory for 8 years until I recruited his ass. So when I brought him into Drew Estate, this guy's already a cigar manufacturer, not a brand guy.
No, he knows it. And the one thing, Jonathan, you've got to try to amp up the enthusiasm a little bit for the audience. You're just a little too low-key today.
I'm pumped up. You're here. We got Cigar Day. You know, listen, for you to spend time in the booth, we really appreciate it.
I love spending time with you guys because you're great friends.
Do.
Now, let's take a walk over this way, and I want you to take a look in their huge area here at IPCP. This is not your typical cigar manufacturer's booth. There's a lot going on. They got music going on over here. People riding horses. But take a look. They got a second floor that overlooks the entire IPCPR Convention. Now, I went to go get you. You're in this private room. They're like, you got to go into the private room. I'm like, what's he getting, a massage with a happy ending up there? I mean, they had guards up there, everything. But I finally dragged you down, and it's a great little area where you can meet with some of your important customers.
Yeah, these guys are having meetings up there.
And we'll walk over here. We'll take a look. And again, not only are you selling cigars, you got everybody over here. You got other things. Here's the
this is very important right here. Let's take a moment. We got Cigar Dave here, and I think it's a great time to talk for a moment about Cigars for Warriors. Cigars for Warriors has one goal, one objective, and we really do it. We want to get cigars into our deployed military's hands. That's the objective of Cigars for Warriors. Each year we get about 100,000 cigars out to our military, to our deployed troops, servicemen and servicewomen, and these guys do an incredible job. It's not, Drew Estate can't take credit for it, but I'll tell you this, we believe in them. We've been part of what they've done from day one. We have some of the Cigars for Warriors people here. Storm started it. He's the chairman of the board of directors. We have some of the other board of directors with us.
And you won an award from them?
We've won multiple awards from them because Drew Estate every month, we give 2,000 Kentucky Fire Cured cigars, or for years the acids, 2,000, but now we're at 2,000 sticks a month. Plus, not just Drew Estate, a lot of other cigar companies out there support them, but it's near and dear to our hearts. So Cigars for Warriors on the Facebook group. Let's get it going.
Well, you know, we got a lot of military people that listen to the show around the world.
Yeah, you bet.
And the one thing they tell me, the two most requested items, cigars and coffee. Because they say it's the one time where when we have a cigar, with all the shit going on around and they're in hellish areas, they can get a little taste of home, they can relax.
Yeah.
And you know what? For a half an hour, 45 minutes, it's a diversion from what they have to go through. So great program. That's a lot of cigars, 24,000, goes to a great cause. So excellent, nice job.
Yeah, you bet, of course, so it's very important.
And let's move over to acid now. Now acid was where it all began, Jonathan, 15 years ago. And at the time when you came out, what the hell is going on with
We're
this
huge
cigar?
in Japan.
But you're huge everywhere now, Jonathan,
Right.
especially the acid.
That's my joke I keep making. Yeah.
I think that acid is probably the one brand where people don't realize, the average consumer doesn't realize how huge of a brand it is. And people think it's just a small cult-like following. It's not. I go to retailer after retailer when I say, what's your number one seller? They said, General, you won't believe it. Acid. I said, no, I do believe it.
General, let me explain something to you. Every company, every brand has an evolution, a historical evolution of that brand or of that company or both. When a brand begins as a cult brand, the way Acid began, as that brand develops, it can only go in certain directions. It's either going to continue to grow, it's going to peter out, it's going to level off. And what's happened with the Acid brand is very unique. The Acid brand went from a cult brand into a trust brand. That distinguishing element of going from a cult brand to a trust brand is very hard because, you know, the core supporters of a cult brand, once that starts to become bigger, what happens? They back off because they don't want to be part of something that's mass. They're special. So when you have a cult brand that really grows quick, all of your core supporters, they're not like, hey, I'm proud of this brand. They get nervous, they get wigged out, they find a different cult brand to become a part of. What's happened with Acid is very, very unique. I've never seen it in the premium cigar industry. And what's happened with Acid is we've moved from this cult brand following into this trust brand following. So that experience for us is a really, it's an experience that the whole industry can learn from. How did it happen? Yeah, hard work, a little bit of luck, good people around us to help us, consumers who believed in us, who gave us an opportunity. But at the end of the day, it happened because it happened. Acid is probably the third or second biggest brand in the cigar industry, and Cuba Cuba is probably the largest selling single SKU item.
Let's look at Cuba Cuba. I saw it somewhere here. There it is.
Wait, this is the close over. Cuba Cuba.
Cuba Cuba.
So the Cuba Cuba brand,
and the way you package
they're glued in.
Oh, they're glued. See, you got to be careful.
People steal
Generals want to take these.
Right, no, generals get their own free boxes. But the bottom line is, this is the Cuba Cuba, which is a 5x54. It's been around for 15 years. It's a mega bomb selling stick.
Yep.
And then wait, we released a couple of years ago the Cuba Maduro, which is this one right here. So the Cuba Maduro, just like the Cuba Cuba, that same beautiful taste, that same aroma. You know what the number one email is that we get from our final consumers?
What's that?
Acid is the only cigar my wife lets me smoke in the house.
Well, they need to listen to the General because, as you know, if your wife doesn't like the aroma of your cigars, change wives.
Yeah, that's right. Change them right away.
Alpha, you got to be an alpha, and when the wife says, or the girlfriend, I don't want you smoking, you say, honey, here's a one-way ticket out of 10.
Or the wife and the girlfriend.
And the wife, the girlfriend, the mistress, the harem, exactly.
But you know, it's true. Let me tell you something, General. We have always, from day one, put our email address on the back of our cigar band. And our number one email is, it's the only cigar my wife lets me smoke in the house. You know what our number two email is? I started off smoking either Acid or, Cuba Cuba or Blondie. So number one, my only cigar my wife lets me smoke in the house. Number two, I started. What does that tell you? Acid is a social experience. When people smoke Acid, the smell, the aroma, the taste that fills the air, it's a cigar that people, it's not a no product, it's a yes product. So when you smoke Acid, and you know, earlier we were looking at the Herrera Esteli, right? That Herrera Esteli product guys who smoke on the golf course, a lot of the guys who smoke on the golf course used to be nervous to pull out an acid because they didn't want to look weird to their friends. That phenomenon has changed. Now people are smoking acid, whether they're golfers, doctors, lawyers, big money dudes, stock market guys. Acid has become a trust brand, where that wild, crazy product. So if you're ever going to smoke an acid, you're out with your golf buddies, this, that, and you're nervous, should I bust out the acid? Am I going to look odd? Don't worry about it. You're covered. It was the same way with the retail stores. They used to say to us, put your cigars in a little bin somewhere. We don't want them with the other stuff. They were nervous.
No, now they display them proudly.
Now they know what's up. They know what time it is. Stripping down like 6 o'clock. The acid product is a trust brand. It's a product you count on. Every time you smoke on it, the draw, the smell, the aroma, that beautiful dreamlike place that acid takes you to. It's very unusual to see a brand development go from a boutique cult product to a trust brand, and now we're bringing the brand global. Now with our partners with Agio and our partners in Asia, we're taking the brand, also the factory. Remember, we went from one little factory when we started. I was sleeping on the ground on a rollout in Nicaragua, and we went from 5 workers and myself throughout the years to 50, 100, 500, 1,000, 1,500. We're going to almost at 2,000 employees now at the factory. We went from 1 factory, 2, 5, 7, 11 factories. Now we have the mega factory, which is La Gran Fabrica, Drew Estate, and then attached to it now we have the next area. So we got 174,000 square feet.
Wow, huge.
It's the second biggest factory in the world, but you want to know something? It's still a cult-like little company. I mean, we're still in the cut. We know when I walk through the factory, I probably know 700-800 people by first name. That's because I lived in the factory for 14 years. Who's living in a cigar factory for 14 years? Let me tell you who. Right here, one dude.
JD, baby.
El Gringo Loco. It's very difficult. When I lived there at the factory all those years, the last 4 years I haven't, to be honest. I still try and spend 120 days a year in Nicaragua, 90 to 120 days a year. But now the company has grown, so I have a lot more people who are able to handle different areas other than myself. So we've been blessed. We've spoke about acid a little bit. One of the things that we always try and talk about is this product right here. This is called the Acid Crush Classic. This is, similar, let's call it, to the Macanudo Ascot.
Right.
That's a brilliant product because it lets you enjoy the wonderful taste of a Macanudo, but you're on the run.
You're walking your dog, it's winter, you want to go out, grab a quickie. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Acid Crush Classic has grown over the last 7 or 8 years to really being understood. It's in the tin, it's easy in and out, easy in the pocket, and the Acid Crush Classic is something we're putting a lot of equity into as well because this creates easy access for people who are on the go. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I always say there's no right or wrong in cigars. It's what you enjoy.
Bingo.
Well, we have had unprecedented access the last 3 days into all the manufacturers' booths and display areas. And as you can see in the Drew Estate area, their multi-level booth, their multi-level display area, it really is over the top. And we wanted to give you that access because, again, there is no public access to the IPCPR Convention. So we wanted to take you right in there, and we were able to do so. And we thank Altadas USA, Rocky Patel Premium Cigars, Davidoff North America, and Drew Estate. And as you can see, the enthusiasm of Jonathan Drew, it is infectious, as is the enthusiasm for all the cigar manufacturers that are here in New Orleans. We could not have done these broadcasts without the help of some great, talented people, and I want to acknowledge them right now. First up, we've got to thank our great crew. Steve Versnick, our VP of Operations and Programming, today's actually the technical director for the last 4 days. Want to thank Brian Allward. Want to thank Sam Lang, David Maddox. Our Tallahassee contingency did an outstanding job on video and editing. Want to thank Colonel Ange, Lieutenant Gary, Captain Paul from the Western New York Theater of Operations. Also want to thank Mike Flounder Daly, our Creative Services Director out in San Diego. Want to thank Ed Weigel, Voice Talent Ed, the lovely Ms. Kate for outstanding hair management, and of course Joel Silver, Silver Digital Media, his crew, outstanding job. We've got to thank Deb Piat, Shepherd Expo Services, the IPCPR, Mark Purcell, the CEO, for their great hospitality. We couldn't do it without them. And of course, got to thank the great folks at the Humidor store, Jim and Mark Blanton, They are our Director of Logistical Operations, and they have been incredible to work with building our set, helping us with our transportation of our equipment from Tampa. Cigar Dave the General, hope you enjoyed the last 2 days and 4 exclusive live televised broadcasts from the IPCPR, saying so long as always. May your humidor always be full, may your cutter always be sharp, may your ash be extra, extra long. So long from the Memorial Convention Center, New Orleans, Louisiana.
Cigar Dave's exclusive televised coverage of the 2015 International Premium Cigar Retailers Convention has been presented by Drew Estate Cigars, introducing the new Edición Limitada in the Herrera Esteli Norteño line, featuring extensively aged tobaccos from Nicaragua, coupled with a spicy Honduran binder and bold Mexican San Andreas wrapper. And the new Undercrown Shade with an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Sumatran binder, as well as Dominican Criollo 98 and Nicaraguan fillers. This has been an exclusive presentation of Cigar City Studios.